Greetings, Newton Converse City School staff. This is Aaron Gabriel, and I wanted to give you guys some updates as up to date as I have them. And so, hope that you guys have been getting along okay. Still, I know been a long and arduous summer, just like the spring was. But again, I do want you guys to know you're in my thoughts and prayers every single day. While we have been discussing for quite some time informally, our board approved for us to re-enter school under Plan B while giving parents the option of Plan C for their children if they preferred for them to be in a full remote learning format. And if you recall from previous videos, this is the basic framework of our Plan B Option B format, where students will come to school 2 days per week, and then they will have remote learning the other 3 days. But all students having remote learning on Friday, and we'll have more of a deep cleaning of the building, not just the high-touch surfaces, to happen on Tuesday evening and then on Fridays. I want to extend a special thanks to folks who served on the remote learning task force to help design parameters for us to follow during this time to do our best to offer as high quality of instruction as we can when our students aren't under our care. I wanted to remind you folks of the Return to Work in August staff survey. If you haven't filled that out, we'd love to have your feedback and input, as that obviously helps us to make sure that we're uncovering every stone and making sure that we're prepared for the opening of school and are able to meet your needs. I wanted to also remind of the document that we have to capture questions that you may have that'll help populate a document that I'll show you in just a moment. So that we can continue to give real-time answers. And just like the state's guidance does change as things change from the Division of Health and Human Services, very similarly, we will try our best to keep our answers as up to date as possible. And this is the document that will be populated with the questions, and that we will try to keep up with best we can to keep the answers coming on this document to give you guys a resource to refer to. We will also have the Navigating Our Way Forward document that I'll include in the email that contains the videos and everything else for you guys to reference. And remember that it is more overarching. It provides more of the background or the impetus for a lot of the procedures that we'll be putting in place as a system to ensure safety for students and staff. I wanted to also show you guys a document that we've been kind of working on to try to figure out how to, as concisely as possible, capture some of the procedural changes and things that will be different going into the school year that may also kind of dovetail with some of the questions that you guys may be asking. This document will be available online, and we'll have it for our families also to be able to reference. But you'll see the first item there is talking about Plan B. Just kind of reminds folks of what that looks like. It also reminds folks that full remote learning is available, but they'll have to make sure that they make a commitment to stick with that as we go throughout the first semester. First item you see are face masks, obviously something that we've had a lot of discussion about basically as a society, but Governor Cooper has indicated and required face masks for all students and staff K-12, which is a little bit of a shift from before when students under age 11 didn't have to wear them. But in schools that will be a requirement for the year unless someone meets one of the exceptions. And I do have the exceptions noted in the frequently asked questions document. And you can also find it if you just do a Google search online. But the document itself will kind of detail the different exceptions that exist. And if as a staff member you do have one of the exceptions, then there will be documentation required. If it's a medical reason, it'll be something that you can follow up with Human Resources to get a letter to take to your physician to be able to get that documentation for us. Relative to our students, we're aware that the same type issues may exist with students who may request an exception or state that they have an exception, and we'll similarly have a process in place that I've shared with principals for garnering that, so we can make sure that it is legitimate. And as social distancing is in place, guys, and as we have, all the other safeguards we're going to have in place, there will be those times that you are allowed to give them short mask breaks, and I would encourage that, just to not to jeopardize safety, but to also just make sure that the children do have a chance to not have that in their face all day, because that is also a big point of contention, um, for their parents, just being worried that they're not going to be able to take those off, but just at a meal time. And so, again, that'll be something that we'll be talking about more at the building levels. Social distancing, that's something that we've heard from day one. And we will have floor markings and hallway markings. And also, we've spoken with principals about looking at the way classrooms are arranged, and how, right now in terms of assigning seats, to be able to maintain distance, and where social distancing is not possible, having seating arrangements that are face to back and being able to have some barriers, which we have partnered with the local company to have some barriers that could be used if a student, for whatever reason, is not able to maintain that based on just the space of the classroom or other factors. And so just remember that we are definitely being aware of the importance of that. Having regular hand washing breaks and access to hand sanitizer, definitely will be required protocols, and I still say are one of the best ways to be able to help mitigate the spread. As far as visitors being on campus, we are going to definitely limit the visitors to really those who are who are directly related to the teaching and learning process. And face masks will be required for those who are visiting and in our office area, and we'll have designated waiting areas at each school site. The ongoing cleaning piece and the regular cleaning of high-touch surfaces, again, will be essential. And then the deeper cleanings that occur, in the evenings and between groups will also be essential. And you guys will be called upon to assist us with this, and because that is part of the protocol, and just knowing that we won't have enough facility staff to get everywhere we need to, especially between groups of children during the day, if you have class change or something like that. And so we'll have guidance on how that's to be done, and we're going to try to make it as painless as possible. But I think you guys will agree that it's essential that we do everything we can to mitigate the spread of germs. Now, the health screening is another thing that will put a wrinkle into our duty schedules as we know them. That before staff are able to come into the building, you're kind of making your own attestation of health based on the guidelines I'll show you in a moment, and also to have your temperature checked. And if you have a temperature of 100.4 or higher, you will be required to leave campus and follow the return to school protocols. Children, similarly, we're going to send the attestation of health home with them for their parents to complete. And each day as they come, the parents are indicating that they attest to their child's health based on those requirements on that sheet. And they also will have to have a temperature of 100.4 or less. And at this time, we're not planning on having those temperatures checked before they get on the school bus, because it would involve even more staff members having to be spread out. And we just envision needing all hands on deck when they get to campus to be able to get them to where they need to go and to help monitor, make sure they're being socially distanced. But this will, again, be different, and we'll make sure that, of course, you guys have the personal protective equipment if you are called upon to be able to assist with these screenings. School bus transportation, another big item, and truthfully, pun intended, transportation really is driving a lot of everything we do, because the fact is, with the limits on the number of children that can ride a bus, it makes it much more difficult for us to be able to get more children in, because just the sheer fact of only being able to have roughly a third of the kids you normally could have on there. And so our bus drivers are always unbelievably important, but they're even more so this year. Because they will also be called upon to assist us with the sanitation piece, and there's some protocols that they'll be following for us. In the cafeteria, another area, again, another high volume area of bodies that it will definitely look different. Child nutrition is working with each of your principals to try to figure out what's the most efficient way to not only keep people safe, but to make sure that they get food and get it while it's warm. A lot of eating will occur at most levels in classrooms. And if there is any dining in the cafeteria, it'll be on a severely limited basis. Just for example, one of your tables that are the fold-up ones that have rough 12 seats on it, you can really only fit 3 kids on there, the way that this will work. So again, it's going to definitely look different and will require some patience on the part of you guys and the children. Next couple items deal with physical education, performing arts, and CTE. A lot of them are all performance type classrooms. And there definitely are modifications to how things will operate there. But the one I want to call your attention to most, because based on the feedback we've received thus far, this is probably one of the biggest items that you guys want some clarification on, and that's dealing with childcare. And while more specific information will come, what I will tell you is that we are looking to funnel all of our children that are needing the daycare through Kid Connection, because it is an established entity that we already have, and we know that we'll have to supplement it with probably some of our staff to be able to meet the needs, because we really don't know at this point how many children we're going to be talking. But for our staff members themselves, I am planning to be able to subsidize the cost of that for you folks as an employee benefit. That's something that, again, is just for you as an employee, for your school-age children. And again, it's very, very important that you reach out when you get this information that I'll send out. That'll come out via email, or even email Ms. Maynard, so that she knows that you're definitely interested, and she can get you the essential paperwork so that you can get your children signed up. So the days that they're not in school, they'll have a place to go, be cared for, and they also will be able to do their remote learning work. And folks, this is a service I'd love to be able to provide for all children, not just those of employees. But to be honest, with all the different expenditures that we've had that's came about as a result of COVID-19 and just the general functioning of our school system, we're just not in a position right now to be able to do it. And I know that that's going to be hard and tough on families, which is the other reason why, as soon as we are able to have all of our children back, I can assure you that we'll be moving in that direction. But we know that that's not likely in the near future. I wanted you guys to see the basic attestation of health that our parents will be filling out and will be asked to make sure that they adhere to before they send their children to school each day. And for you folks, as part of your login process on Timekeeper, there'll be some questions that will pop up, and again, you'll be attesting to your health as you clock in each morning, and that'll be the process we'll use. Wanted to take a quick moment to just remind you folks, as you completed this return to work survey, or as you complete it, if you indicated that you did want to be considered for an alternative working assignment, I do ask that you contact Dr. Robinson directly, so that he can kind of walk you through what that process is. Because again, we're going to do our best to make sure we can accommodate and meet the needs of staff as well as children. Finally, folks, I want to reassure you that not one step of this journey have I taken lightly as a leader, nor will I as we go forward. As a superintendent who cares deeply about the colleagues he has, which is you folks, and who also has 2 children in this system who I happen to be pretty fond of as well, I do not take lightly the era we're in and the things that we're dealing with. So I want you to know that, and I want to reassure you of that. But I also want to let you know that just like a piece of paper, as thin as it still has 2 sides, and there are 2 sides to every single layer of this conversation. And so I ask that you remain open-minded, and that you remember your why, remember why we're here, and that also that you judge folks based on positive intent and assume positive intent instead of the reverse. Because guys, we're going to be the leaders in this journey, like it or not. And I need you. I need every single one of you. Our kids need you more than that. And just want you to know that there'll be obviously more information to come. If you have questions, you know how to get a hold of us either via email through the frequently asked questions document. And I just want to let you guys know how much I appreciate you.